She told me she was going to a yoga retreat. I found the hotel confirmation. It wasn't for yoga, it was for two. The guy's name on the reservation? My business partner. I'm going to burn it all down. But first, I have to play the part. This story's just getting started. If you want to see how this ends, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss part 2. It started with the small things, the way she'd laugh at her phone, then angle the screen away when I walked into the room. The late client dinners that went from once a month to 3 times a week. I'm Mike and my wife Chloe was pulling away. We'd been together 8 years, built a life. I co-owned a successful development firm and she ran our marketing. We were a power couple, or so I thought. Lately I felt more like her roommate. "Hey," I said one Tuesday morning. I was at the stove making coffee, the good stuff. "The home show is this weekend. Thought we could go, check out the new tech, grab that brisket place after." Chloe didn't look up from her phone. Her thumb was flying, tap, tap, tap. "Can't, Mike, I have that marketing retreat all weekend." "The retreat? Again? I thought that was last month. This one's mandatory. Team building," she said, the words clipped. She snapped her laptop shut. "It's at that new place up north, the Cypress Lodge. Supposed to be awful. Trust falls and corporate BS." "Right." I poured a mug and slid it toward her. "Bummer." She gave a tight smile, grabbed the mug, and walked out of the kitchen, her phone already at her ear. "Yeah, I'm walking out now." "No, he's not." "Okay, 10 minutes. I stood there, smelling the coffee I'd made for no one, and felt that familiar, cold knot in my stomach. Something was off. It had been off for months. I was just the idiot who kept trying to pretend it wasn't. That night, I was trying to find a recipe for a client dinner we were supposed to be hosting. I grabbed the shared tablet from the kitchen counter. Chloe was always logged into everything on it. I opened the browser and her email was up. I usually click right out, but a subject line caught my eye. Confirmation, your stay at the Cypress Lodge. I froze. Why would a mandatory corporate retreat confirmation be sent to her personal email and not the main office? I clicked it. My heart didn't drop. It evaporated. It was a reservation, all right. For the Executive King Suite. Features, private hot tub, fireplace, champagne welcome package. Billed to her personal credit card, not the company Amex. And then I scrolled down. Guest, Chloe Henderson. Guest 2, David Russo, my partner, the guy I started the company with in my dad's garage. The guy who was the best man at my wedding. The guy I trusted with my life. I read it again. And again. I felt sick. The room started to spin. The team building retreat. The late client dinners, the shielded phone. It all snapped into focus, a perfect, horrifying picture. This wasn't a fling. This was a plan. My first instinct was to throw the tablet through the sliding glass door, to call her and scream, to drive to David's house and wait for him on his lawn, but I didn't. A different feeling washed over me, cold and sharp. Clarity. They thought I was a fool, predictable. The slow, steady husband who just pays the bills and looks the other way. They thought I was the obstacle. Fine. I'll be the obstacle. I stared at the confirmation until my eyes burned. This wasn't just my marriage. This was my company, my money, my future. They weren't just sleeping together. I guarantee they were planning something. A buyout? Pushing me out? Using her marketing access and his operational control to bleed me dry. "Oh, Chloe," I whispered to the empty room. "You have no idea." I took a screenshot of the email. Then I forwarded it to a new secret email address I created on the spot. I dug through her inbox. Oh, it was all there. Dinner reservations for 2. Venmo transactions hidden with emoji. A PDF from a lawyer specializing in business asset division. She wasn't just cheating, she was staging a coup. I deleted the confirmation email from her inbox, then went into the trash folder and deleted it permanently. I cleared the browser history on the tablet. I wiped my fingerprints off the screen. I made myself a large, neat bourbon. When Chloe got home an hour later, I was on the couch, watching a basketball game. "Hey," she said, dropping her keys. She barely glanced at me. "Hey, babe." "Rough day?" I asked, my voice calm. I even managed to smile. "The usual, just slammed." She kicked off her heels. "I'm going to pack for this weekend. Ugh, I am dreading this retreat." "I know." "Sounds awful," I said, turning back to the game. "Hey, Chloe?" She stopped halfway up the stairs. "Yeah?" "Don't worry about the presentation slides. I'll have David look them over in the morning. Make sure the projections are solid." I saw her hand tighten on the railing, just for a second. "Oh, great. Thanks, Mike. You're the best." "Just want to help," I said. She went upstairs. I heard the zipper of her suitcase. I took a long, slow sip of my bourbon. The game on the TV was just noise. My mind was already moving. She thinks I'm a husband. She's about to find out I'm a better enemy. I pulled out my phone. I didn't call a friend. I didn't call my brother. I Googled top divorce attorney forensic accounting. The team building was Friday. I had 48 hours to get my ducks in a row. I opened my banking app. I started transferring money, half of every joint account. I opened a new private account at a different bank. I set up a new credit card. I wasn't just going to survive this. I was going to win. She wanted the house, the savings, the company. She was going to get a war. Friday morning was a masterpiece of theater. I woke up at my usual 6 a.m., hit the gym in our garage, and had coffee brewing when Chloe came downstairs. She was wearing her best yoga pants, the ones she never actually wore to yoga, and a new cashmere sweater. "You're up early," she said, avoiding my eyes as she grabbed her oversized weekender bag. It looked heavy for a bunch of Lululemon and corporate retreat binders. "Habit," I said, leaning against the counter, sipping my mug. "Want a smoothie for the road?" "Oh, no time. I've got to fly. David hates when people are late." She said his name without flinching. That's how good she'd gotten. Right, Mr. Punctual. I walked her to the door. "Well, try to have some fun. Hope the trust falls don't leave bruises." She gave me a quick, dry kiss on the cheek. It felt like kissing a mannequin. "Please." "I'm just going to try and survive. I'll probably be out of cell range, so don't freak out if I don't text." "Out of cell range? At a corporate lodge? What is this, 2004? I chuckled, playing the part. "It's fine, Chloe. Go network. I'll hold down the fort. You're the best," she said, the lie rolling off her tongue. "I know," I said. I watched her back out of the driveway, her tires squealing just a little, like she couldn't get away fast enough. I finished my coffee, rinsed the mug, and placed it in the sink. The second her car turned the corner, I was in my home office. My first call was to Arthur Thorne, the attorney I'd found. His website tagline was, "We don't just win, we conquer." He sounded expensive. Good. I wanted expensive. "Mr. Thorne's office," a crisp voice answered. "I need to see him today. It's an emergency." "My name is Mike Henderson. Mr. Thorne is fully booked, sir." "I can schedule you for next—" "My business partner is sleeping with my wife," I said, cutting her off. "They are, as we speak, on their way to a hotel together. They are also actively planning to liquidate my assets and steal my company. I have proof. Is he booked, or does he want to hear this?" There was a pause. "Hold, please." 30 seconds later, Thorne's voice boomed onto the line. "Henderson, you've got 90 minutes. Be at my office at 10 a.m., and don't be late." He hung up. I arrived at 9:50. Thorne's office was on the 50th floor, all glass and steel, overlooking the city. He didn't look like a lawyer. He looked like a retired linebacker in a $5,000 suit. "Talk," he said, not standing up, just pointing to a chair. I laid it all out. The yoga retreat, the Cypress Lodge reservation, the lawyer's PDF, the late nights, the shielded phone. I airdropped him the screenshots I'd sent to my secret email. He stared at his monitor, scrolling. He didn't speak for a full 5 minutes. "Okay," he said finally, leaning back. "Here's what you're not going to do. You're not going to call her. You're not going to text him. You're not going to change any more passwords. You're not going to move another dime." "But she's sloppy," Thorne interrupted. "And your partner, Russo? He's a moron. They're arrogant. Arrogant people leave trails. You've already done the hard part. Now you let me and my team do our jobs." He buzzed his intercom. "Get Sarah in here." A woman in a sharp pantsuit walked in carrying a tablet. "Sarah," Thorne said, "is our forensic accountant. She's the best." She's going to find every penny they've tried to hide. He looked at me. The hotel reservation proves adultery. That'll help with the divorce, sure. But the business fraud, that's where we cripple them. That's the felony. We don't want a divorce, Henderson. We want an execution. I felt a cold smile creep onto my face. An execution. I like that. Good. Sarah needs access to your company servers today, while Russo is team building. He's the ops guy, I said. His whole life is on that server. But he's smart. It'll be locked down. Sarah spoke for the first time, her voice quiet but confident. Your name is on the business charter, Mr. Henderson. You own 50%. You have a right to access. Let me worry about the locks. I left Thorne's office feeling like I'd just hired a hitman. I spent the next 2 hours at our firm. The office was quiet. David's car was, of course, gone. I let Sarah in through the back and set her up in a vacant office. His office is down the hall, I said. Anything you need, I'm yours. While she worked her magic, I did my own digging. I needed to confirm they were at the lodge. Right now, I went to my desk, pulled up the Cypress Lodge website. It was a 5-star joint. Bespoke experiences. Curated luxury. Right. I called the front desk. Cypress Lodge, how may I direct your call? Hi, I said, pitching my voice to sound friendly, maybe a little ditzy. I'm the assistant for David Russo. He's checking in today with Chloe Henderson. I just wanted to do something nice for them. Can you confirm they've arrived? One moment, sir. Yes, Mr. Russo and Ms. Henderson checked in about 45 minutes ago. They're in the King Suite. Oh, fantastic, I gushed. Listen, I want to send a bottle of champagne up to their room. The really good stuff. But I want the note to be from her husband, Mike. He feels so bad she has to work all weekend. Can we do that? The concierge paused. From her husband, sir? Yeah, he's a little old-fashioned, doesn't do this stuff himself. Can the note just say, let's see, heard the retreat was a drag. Hope this helps. The concierge was probably confused, but I was paying. Of course, sir. We can certainly do that. I gave him my new personal credit card number. Charge it all to me. And please, have it sent up immediately. They're probably just settling in. I hung up. I imagined the scene. They'd just locked the door. They'd be pouring their first drinks, maybe laughing about how stupid I was. Then a knock. A $300 bottle of champagne arrives, and a note. From me. They wouldn't be scared. They'd be emboldened. They'd toast to my ignorance. They'd drink the champagne I just bought them while sleeping in a bed I was about to own. The arrogance. Thorne was right. I was staring out the window when Sarah appeared at my door. Her expression was grim. You need to see this, Mr. Henderson. I followed her to David's office. She had his hard drive mirrored on her laptop. He's dumb, she said. He didn't hide it. He just renamed it. Project Cypress. She clicked a folder. It was all there. A new LLC, Cypress Holdings, registered in Delaware. A new bank account with $200,000 in it. And a series of wire transfers from our main operating account disguised as consulting fees. He's been siphoning money for 6 months, Sarah said. But that's not the worst part. She opened another file. It was a draft of a contract, an offer to sell our company's entire client list and active projects to our biggest competitor. The deal was set to close in 30 days. All the proceeds were routed to Cypress Holdings. He wasn't just pushing me out. He was gutting the company and selling it for parts. And Chloe. Her signature was on the LLC formation documents as a board member. This isn't a plan, I said, my hands shaking, not from fear, but from a rage so pure it felt like ice. This is grand larceny. They're draining you, Mr. Henderson, Sarah said. I looked at the wire transfers. The dates, the late client dinners, they all matched, Sarah, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Copy everything, send it to Thorne, then wipe your tracks. I walked back to my office. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Chloe, a single picture of a champagne bottle on an oak table. The caption, Ugh, mandatory welcome gift. This place is the worst. Miss you. Three Eyes stared at the message. The sheer unadulterated gall, I texted back, looks awful. Hang in there, babe. Work hard. I stared at the text message from Chloe for a full minute. The picture of the champagne bottle. The casual sociopathic lie. Miss you and 3. I felt the rage, that icy burn Sarah had uncovered in the server, and I almost texted back what I really thought, but I didn't. I was a new man. I was a man with a $1,000 an hour lawyer. I texted back, looks awful. Hang in there, babe. Work hard. I looked at Sarah. Wipe your tracks. Lock it all down. Send everything to Arthur Thorne. I'm out. Got it, she said, already typing, her face illuminated by lines of code. I walked out of the office, but I didn't go home. It was 4 p.m. on a Friday. The old Mike would have gone home, cracked a beer, and waited for his wife, wondering why he felt so empty. The new Mike called Thorne. It's done, I said, getting into my truck. You're getting the Project Cypress files as we speak. It's worse than we thought. Embezzlement, a new LLC, a plan to sell our client list. Thorne was quiet for a beat. Then he laughed. A low, dry sound. Henderson, you magnificent bastard. I thought we had a breach of contract. You just brought me a federal case. They didn't just break their vows. They broke the law. This is a game changer. So what now? I asked, pulling into traffic. Now you disappear for the weekend. You do not go home and mope. You go be the guy who has no idea his life is on fire. Go to the gym. Go to a bar. Be seen. Be boring. My private investigator is already at the Cypress Lodge. He'll get us the photos we need for the adultery part. That's the why. The Project Cypress file is the how. We're going to nail them to the wall with both. When do we move? My office. Sunday night, 8 p.m. sharp. We're having a war room meeting. Be ready. He hung up. I drove. I ended up at a local sports bar, a place I never go. I ordered a burger and a beer and watched a game I didn't care about. I texted my buddy Greg, "You guys at the kids' soccer game? Tell him good luck." I was creating an alibi of my own. An alibi of being normal Mike. At 10 p.m. I went home. The house was silent, empty. It felt good. I went into the guest room and locked the door. Saturday was the longest day of my life. I went to the hardware store. I bought a new drill I didn't need. I mowed the lawn. I was a caricature of a suburban husband. At 5 p.m. my phone buzzed. A new email from Thorne. Subject weekend update. There was one attachment. A photo. It wasn't grainy. It was crystal clear, taken with a long lens camera. Chloe and David sitting at an outdoor table at the lodge, candlelight between them. They were laughing. David's hand was on hers. Her other hand was caressing his face. They weren't just team building. They were in love. Or whatever this sick, twisted thing was. I deleted the email and went back to edging the lawn. Sunday night. Chloe texted at 7 p.m. Just wrapped. So exhausted. That was the retreat from hell. Driving back now, see you around 9. I replied, K. Drive safe. At 7:45 p.m., I was in my truck on my way to Thorne's office. When I walked in, it wasn't just Thorne and Sarah. There were 2 other sharp-suited lawyers and a paralegal. A massive whiteboard was covered in printouts of the Project Cypress files. It looked like a scene from a movie. Henderson, Thorne said, not turning from the board. Glad you could make it. We've been busy, he pointed to the board. Here's the play. It's a 2-front war. Front 1, the divorce. Front 2, the business. He grabbed a marker. Tomorrow, 8 a.m., our paralegal files the divorce petition. We're filing on grounds of adultery and citing dissipation of marital assets, i.e., the $200K she helped David steal. The petition includes a request for an emergency restraining order. It freezes all marital assets, bank accounts, credit cards, the house. By 9:05 a.m., her Amex will be a piece of useless plastic, he continued. At 9:00 a.m., a process server will be at our house to serve her. She'll be waking up from her romantic getaway to a stack of legal papers that will make her head spin. My jaw was on the floor. But wait, Thorne grinned. It gets better. Front 2. Russo, Sarah stepped up. The Project Cypress LLC, the hidden bank account, the contract to sell your client list. That's wire fraud, Mr. Henderson. It's a felony. Thorne clapped his hands. So at 8:45 a.m. you will walk into your office. At 9:20 a.m. I will walk in with 2 sheriff's deputies. We have an emergency injunction to physically remove David Russo from the premises for corporate malfeasance and embezzlement. He'll be served, locked out of his computer, and escorted from the building. We're getting an ex parte order to freeze the Cypress Holdings account. That $200,000 is now evidence. My God, I whispered. This is not a divorce, Mike, Thorne said, his voice dropping. This is a hostile takeover. Your only job tomorrow is to play the part. Be the shocked, devastated husband. You walk in at 8:45. You ask Russo, hey, how was the weekend? Oh, you let him lie to your face. And then you watch the show. I drove home, my hand steady on the wheel. I felt cold. Clear. I walked into the house at 9:30 p.m. Chloe's car was in the driveway. She was on the couch in her pajamas, laptop open. Hey, she said, not looking up. God, I'm beat. You have no idea. Rough one? I asked, grabbing a bottle of water. I was playing my part, the worst. My boss is a tyrant, and David was a total hard ass, stressed everyone out. I need a vacation from my vacation. She said his name, she lied, right to my face with the casual ease of a seasoned pro. This was the woman I'd loved. Bummer, I said. Well, I'm turning in. I'm exhausted. It's 9:30, she said, finally looking at me annoyed. What's your problem? Just tired. Got a big day tomorrow. Early start at the office. I walked upstairs. I didn't go to our bedroom. I went to the guest room. You're sleeping in there again. She called up. Whatever, Mike. I closed the door. I didn't lock it. I didn't need to. I lay on top of the covers, fully clothed, and stared at the ceiling. I listened to the sound of her typing, the sound of my life's greatest enemy tapping away on her keyboard, blissfully unaware that her entire world was going to end in exactly 10 hours. I didn't sleep. I just waited for the dawn.